Patrick Cook here. Welcome to session number 40 of our Mandelbulb3D Epic Rendering tutorial series. I want to use this as a kind of a wrap-up of our tutorial series and just in review. So here's where we ended up. That is a JPEG that we are ready to send to the printer. And what we had done prior to that is we went in using GIMP, which is a free software. I could have done this in Photoshop too, all right, but GIMP is going to give me the same capabilities that I need for purposes of preparing a print for a printer. I went in there and I did some levels, I did some curve adjustments. Didn't feel I needed to do anything with colors. I didn't feel I needed to do any sharpening. I just didn't feel I needed to because I think that the Mandelbulb did a good enough job. And then I downscaled it so that I got to the resolution that the printer needs. So that was my GIMP work. And I had used the Image J version 2 and specifically the plugin under stitching called Grid Collection Stitching. That plugin comes along with and installed in Image J. So you don't need to go find that somewhere and do a second installation. So the Fiji Image J version 2 with this stitching software enabled me to take the Mandelbulb tiles and merge them together without having to deal with the overlap and the parallax modification that we don't need. All right, so it did a good job with the merging. All right, and all the way back to Mandelbulb. We don't need that right now. All right, we talked about using the Big Render, all right, and we talked about the native resolution that we would then render as larger to give us some leeway for our quality settings. We had talked about the anti-aliasing. I want some anti-aliasing, but not a tremendous amount, but still, because of the DEAO method of shadowing, I picked the highest possible quality of shadowing, which caused these tiles to render out over 2.5 hours. Still, that was not bad. I don't care how much time it takes to render a still. Take all the time you need. All right, but this would not have been an appropriate setup for an animation because all this effort would have had to be repeated over thousands of frames. So this is appropriate for a still. All right, but we did realize that we only have DEAO, distance estimate, ambient occlusion, available to us when we use the Big Render and we tile out. And a reason for that is because the Mandelbulb is the way it does its rendering is it is working with the DE method of rendering or ray tracing, to use a very generic term. So it needs to understand, once it starts breaking up your big picture into tiles, it needs to understand how to go about doing the ambient shadow calculations, and it only could use the DEAO. So that's why that restriction. But I'm very happy with the shadows, the way the shadows came out with DEAO. Very happy with it. So no loss there. Okay. So we early on we had talked about lighting and shadowing. Let's see if we can get our 9,000 to 6,000 back on here and render that out so we can see it. All right, while that's rendering. So yeah, so we had gone in here and we worked with the formulas up here. And we, we wound up with 3 formulas in the alternate mode. All right, and then we had worked with the navigator to get us the right scene that we wanted. All right, giving us a kind of a floor, giving us some depth. All right, and giving us an interesting scene, something that we're willing to put up on our wall. If you don't like the scene, well, don't go through this effort to get a big print, and because you're not going to put it up on the wall because nobody's going to like it. But we had moved the camera around, and we had gotten our depth, and we worked with the focal view down here, and we got ourselves a pretty good picture. So now we're rendered. Let's get that going here. Okay, it hasn't done the ambient shadows yet. All right, so I had the formulas, and then we went over and we were working with the lighting, and we were really focused on those ambient shadows. We were really focused on that because that is going to give you a lot of interest in your image. It's going to help give you a sense of depth. Ambient shadows is quite important. I worked with coloring. I had gotten the, our color palette up here, and I was working with that. I wanted to try to get a little bit more green in the scene, but not too much. All right, because this is very organic. Red is not common in nature, in plants. So we're kind of over the top here on the red, but I do recall kind of toning it down and trying to get some offset colors over in here so that we weren't so blaringly red everywhere. I guess it's a matter of opinion. That could be still blaringly red. But this is an interesting image. It's kind of believable, but it's interesting, but believable. You're going to have people that are going to come up to this and say, whoa, what is that? Where is that? What plant is that? They're going to sort of like kind of believe it, but yet it's interesting enough where they have to keep looking at it saying, what is that? Where have I seen that before? So we worked with the colors, and we wanted something up on our wall that we can live with, that's interesting, that's worth spending the money on for a print. All right. And so it's still doing the main rendering. So basically what we have here is the Mandelbulb has the ability to render out tiles, and each of these tiles can render within the available memory. That's what it's all about. And then it does a really good job in outputting these tiles. And then your mission, and hopefully I've made it a lot easier for you, is to figure out how to get these tiles stitched back together again. That's the hard part. And once they're stitched back together, and which I found this Fiji Image J version 2 with that plugin for the grid column stitching, did a really good job in merging them all back in together again. Then once I had everything merged back in, which we found was like flawless, there was no deviations in exposure from from these abutting tiles. Very nicely done. Then you know, then I have an image that I can work with even free software, GIMP, which does a very good job, and certainly Photoshop, if you have it or want to get it, would do a very good job as well. And now I'm at the point now where I can take this electronic image and ship it out to a printer and see what I get. All right. So I want to give this a little bit of time here to finish out the ambient shadow, and we'll we'll take this minute or two and just kind of wrap this up. The beautiful thing about the Mandelbulb fractal generator is that you can do some absolutely amazing stuff with it. The amount of formulas that you have to work with. I mean, you got 468 formulas and transforms that you can work with in this thing. There's so many ways that you can find wonderful images that and and uh, and with a combination. I didn't even really scratch the surface on the capabilities of the formulas for this particular project. You've got the interpolate hybrid mode, you've got the DE combinate, you've got shape formulas over here in the DIFS, a whole bunch of transform formulas in the ADS. Take a look at my series number 2, where I'm going through trying to make you a master of the Mandelbulb formulas. And they are hard to master because there's so many options. And even with multiple hybrid modes, 6 formula slots, and all these parameters that you can adjust, it's like endless, endless as to what you can do with this thing. And then all the lighting. The lighting is very powerful. This is not bad for a 10, 13, 14-year-old software application that's a 32-bit application only. Doesn't cost you anything. Very powerful. And as we found in this series, you can go beyond the memory limitations by using the Big Render tool, and you can just like you can output some really crazy stuff as long as you have the ability to reassemble those merged tiles, which I hope that this tutorial series has really shown you that that is an easy task to do with other free software. All right. So I think this is a fascinating topic for me. I love these capabilities. I think that the people that created this Mandelbulb fractal generator really, really were thinking forward about dealing with situations where you have a large rendering, but yet you have memory limitations. It's kind of unfortunate that they didn't finish it up with some sort of merge capability of the tiles, but it's okay. It's okay that they didn't, because we found a solution. There are solutions. There are other solutions other than the image J, but I just found that works so well that what's the problem? So far, in this tutorial series, I haven't caused you to spend any money. Free, free, free. Mandelbulb is free. That image J is free. GIMP is free. No money outlay, but yet we had a really good, successful project. So thanks for joining me in this tutorial series. Take a look at my other tutorial series on Mandelbulb. I think you'll find that those are helpful as well. Go out there and be a Mandelbulb fractal artist and have a good time with this, and don't let the limitations of your computer stop you from rendering out big renders that you'll get on your wall. All right? Thanks for joining me. That's the end of this tutorial series. Thanks for sticking it out for 40 sessions. I had a good time. I hope you did too.